I am Keith Frost, your Planning Commission Chair, and I'll ask the other members to please introduce themselves.
Good morning, I'm Frank Berry.
Good morning, Sammy Hendricks.
Good morning, I'm Brian Amy.
Morning, Roscoe Kaufman.
Good morning, I'm Lisa Gibson.
Good morning, I'm Jeannie Michaels.
Good morning, I'm John Bartlett.
Good morning, I'm Brooke Poole, Town Administrator.
Good morning, I'm Kathy Manus, Town Council.
Good morning, I'm Ron Williams, Town Council.
Good morning, Brad Cunningham, Town Attorney.
Nick Walker, Director of Parks and Sanitation.
Good morning, Charlie Thomas, Building Official.
President Rizzo, Planning and Building.
Good morning, John Hanson, Director of Planning.
Good morning, Randy Edwards, County Transportation Director.
I'm Karen Hanna, the Assistant Municipal Clerk.
All right, at this time, I will ask Commissioner Gibson if she will lead us in invocation.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity of this week. We just ask for your wisdom and your guidance as we make plans for the town. I want to take a moment to ask you to bless those that serve our country and serve our nation and direct us. And I just pray for their safety every day as they protect us on our front lines. Bless this time. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the meeting will now come to order. First item of business is our meeting minutes from December 20th, 2017. You've received those in your packet. Do we have any corrections, omissions?
Motion approved.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second? Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, first item of new business is annexation of property located on Brickyard Road. John?
Thank you. Before we start, I want to say something about the rezoning request at 716 South Church Street that you all looked at last month. It has been completely withdrawn. That doesn't mean that the property owner couldn't come back at a later date and request that, but what it does mean is if a new rezoning request is submitted, the notification process would start all over again. I've had a lot of calls from people that live down there, so I want to just make sure I put it on the record that it's been completely withdrawn at this point.
And I understand that the Courage Center has a potentially new solution to their location.
That's what they indicated to me, but
Okay.
I didn't want to get into too much detail about that.
All right.
The first item on the agenda this morning, Tidewater Boats LLC recently purchased 20.8 acres located at 142 Brickyard Road and has petitioned to annex the property. A brick manufacturing facility is currently located on the site. Tidewater intends to redevelop the site to expand their boat manufacturing operation. Properties in town near this one are zoned industrial and general commercial. Brickyard Road is already classified as a collector road. The surrounding conditions and the intended use of the site, the recommended zoning of the property is industrial.
All right. Is there anyone here from Tidewater, John? Okay. Would you please come forward and introduce yourself for the record?
Good morning, I'm Joey Wilson, I'm the agent for Tidewater Boats.
Okay. Are they going to redevelop the existing site, or are they going to raise it and build a new building?
They are going to redevelop the existing site. The building is a brick plant, which the design was a straight through layout with brick kiln going through. That's actually very similar to a boat manufacturing plant, so they'll be pulling through. They will expand the facility in the future and they're going to do massive refacing of it, and it lays out pretty ideally for what their current use is.
Okay. I know there's been concern at the existing location about odors. Is there any plan at this location to address odors?
They will have their filtration devices, but one of the positives to this site is it's bordered by the railroad track on one side, the interstate on the other side, and a swamp on another side, and then a large tract of land on the, there's only one side that doesn't have something that, and the next tenant over, on the other side of the railroad track is a safety clean, which is, I don't think they'll be complaining about any other.
Okay, and they're gonna maintain the site on Glassmaster Road for now, or?
For the time being, that's what we understand.
Okay. I was just curious as what their plans were, because I know that's been a concern for neighbors down on where their existing location is at. So, all right, any other questions for Julia? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for staff? Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion for a recommendation? All right, does a second?
Second.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Item 2, John.
The Draft family owns 43.8 acres on 9 parcels located on Darby Ambrose Road and have petitioned to annex the property. The Krieger Company is planning a corporate office and 84,000 square foot warehouse on the property. Properties in town near this one are zoned general commercial. Darby Ambrose is classified as a limited local road. Due to the intended use of the property, the applicants have requested industrial zoning on 32.6 acres and protected residential 2 zoning on 11.26 acres, as shown in your drawing on the, that's in your packet. This one. Purple is industrial, yellow would be the PRG.
All right. And I assume we have someone here to speak to this item.
Mr. Wilson will be able to speak to that one as well.
Mr. Wilson
All
is
right.
the speaker of the day.
Stay up.
Good morning, Julian Wilson. How are y'all doing today? Krieger Company is one of the largest companies located in the Midlands. They're located on 12th Street in West Columbia right now. They've been looking for a site to build a corporate headquarters with a distribution facility co-located with it. Generally, if I were, in most municipalities, if I were to go into, I'd go into a light industrial zoning for Krieger, but there is no light industrial zoning in the town of Lexington. So it's sort of a one-off on how we're having to approach this. But Krieger's looking to procure this property. It's much larger than what they need. And for that purpose, I'm with Mr. Engler and Mr. Tom Britt here as well for different questions. But it's much larger than what they need, and for that reason, they want to buffer it significantly from the surrounding properties. There's a large creek that runs off of it. They're going to request an industrial zoning on one side and then a residential zoning on the opposing side, leaving a 200-foot buffer, which is basically a function of a large creek in between that you couldn't do anything off of anyway, running the back side of the property. And then it comes down to a point where the new traffic plan is coming in, from my understanding.
All right. Questions of Mr. Wilson?
So can you explain to us and the public what would actually be going on in this building and what's coming and going out of this building?
Krieger Company, they focus on HVAC, plumbing, and electrical supplies. So this would be their DC. Most of their trucks would be in at like 5:30 in the morning. So they would come in, pick up there, and distribute to their sales locations around North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. I think they have 28 showrooms. Their current model has where their showrooms have fairly large warehouses with them. That's become antiquated. So you have all of their sort of management staff, all of their accounting staff, all of their procurement staff, and he will be bringing several of these people, these groups together that are now broken apart in different points. And then you'd have a smaller logistics staff like forklift operators and truck operators, maybe like 3 or 4 are there, but the overwhelming number of people who will work at this building will be front office staff.
With a showroom for normal business hours?
I don't believe they'll even, as of right now, Mr. Kreger is not planning on having a showroom at this location. He may open one up in the future, but from what he told me, their plan does not include a showroom at this time.
You said trucks coming in at 5:30.
That they're early morning, early.
Are leaving at 5 or 5:30. What time are they anticipating coming back?
They will do everything in their power to avoid traffic hours because time is money when they're on the road. So they'll either come back after the rush hour or before the rush hour. They have no
Everything in
interest
Lexington is rush hour.
that was a discussion point for him where he says, when I have trucks just sitting there on the road burning gas, he goes, so the system will be built around not clogging anything up.
Okay.
What's the plan for the remaining acreage that the building's not going to be taken up that you're requesting to be zone industrial?
There's that map. Oh, y'all got it. There's two different portions. To the side of it, or to the rear of the property, you have that large chunk will be residential. To the side of the property, there is no plan at this time. It's just we were bringing it in. It's all is one big chunk.
So the buffer for the residential is the creek.
You're all looking at the same plan that I am right
Yep.
now?
Yep.
Right. So the buffer was set off the creek, and then there's a 200-foot setback from that point where everything back off that will be residential. And in that creek, you can't, I'd like to reference Mr. Britt's opinion on that, or his position as being an engineer, as I am not. If I can defer that question to him.
Good morning, Tom Britt with HB Engineering. The streamline buffer is 100 feet from the top of bank on both sides. That's the total 200 feet. But the proposal is to zone the back portion residential, so not only will there be a stream buffer, there'll be the standard ordinance buffer associated with that new residential zoning. So the existing residential adjacent to our property gets as much as, it'll end up being 300 to 400 foot buffer off the existing residential.
And I understand the nature of our zoning requires warehousing to be an industrial zone. However, that gives me great concern at our front porch. We've spent a lot of time and a lot of money in the last several years redeveloping the 378 corridor so that it's a good reflection of the town that you're coming in. And I have a big reservation about putting industrial property at our front door.
I understand the reservation. It's the existing facility that's up the hill, the TD Bank facility, the construction type and the look will be very similar to that. 90% of the staff here, or greater than 90%, will be effectively front office, corporate office staff. The warehouse is a tertiary use for it, but it will be there. But it will be built at the highest standard, and I consider it more of a corporate office than a warehouse.
How many trucks a day will come in and out of the property?
About 15.
Okay. All right. And again, I understand our concern is once we can zone it industrial, that opens the door for almost any development you can imagine. So that's a huge concern.
And you have additional property you could sell immediately to another industrial business. So we could effectively double. I have 3 locations, or at least 2, possibly 3 additional, or 2 additional in conjunction with yours on that property at the same time.
I think if we were to go to Mr. Kreger and not zone the adjacent piece, I don't think he would, the industrial, I don't think he'd have any problem with that. This is, again, a function of just not having a light industrial zoning. And in some zonings, this would be not even considered light industrial.
Well, we have worked diligently to try and focus our warehousing, our industrial activities through our interstate corridor down I-20. And I guess I'm not sure why this property is the best location for this versus one of those other areas that has consistent activities already there. So I'm concerned that this is, for me, this is just not the best use of the property, and to me opens a Pandora's box as far as a zoning classification is concerned. Any questions for Mr. Wilson or staff?
This is a piece that we've looked at for for apartments, school, yeah, beauty school, et cetera.
Well, the beauty school's down the hill, but yeah, the apartments
But
are.
the apartments.
Previously brought to you as a planned unit development that included 300 apartments and 50 or 60 residents.
Right, okay.
Any other questions? All right.
I just wanted to add one.
Please come forward. Introduce yourself for the record, please.
I'm Diana Wood with Wood Realty, and I represent a lot of the drafts. The ones I don't represent, the other agent gave me permission to speak. They've had 4 or 5 years, as he knows, working, and thought we had the property sold for apartments, and you probably know that too. So it took us forever to get 6 family members to agree on anything. And if this falls through, that property probably will never develop, not to the benefit of the town. It'll probably just be there because family members are older, and if this doesn't work, I think they're just giving up. And that's a valuable parcel. The road on Darby and Ambrose could really be a help to the town when it's developed and paved, and it could be a thoroughfare going to Corley Mill Road behind McDonald's and TD Bank. Just for your thought.
And I think that plan is in the works, correct?
No, it's not. I
It's
don't
part of
think it is now, but it could be.
Well, is that not part of the consideration of the LTIP?
Not the LTIP, hospitality.
Hospitality, okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, yeah.
Just
and
want
I-
you to think about
and I
that,
agree.
because they've had a hard 4 or 5 years, and it took us, how long?
45 days.
Yeah, even to get them together, and we had to go back and forth, and if this falls through, it won't happen again.
Okay, well, actually,
Not on that.
there's not much land in Lexington left at parcels this size, and I do agree I think it's an important piece, and I think that's the reason that there's some hesitation about an industrial zoning in that area, so thank you. Any other questions from the commission? Excuse me. Yes, ma'am, you want to speak to this item?
I would like to speak.
Okay.
My name is Trudy Wales, Trudy Drafts Wales. So I am one of those family members. I happen to be the baby of the family, and while this property has been trying to be sold, one of my sisters has died. I am very happy living there, and I don't care if this property sells or not for my own personal use. I am speaking for my siblings. They are getting older. They have very little time left to enjoy whatever they may gain from selling this property. The apartment thing that tried to go through, I felt like met with so much obstruction. They had to have access to a light, they had to have this, they had to have that. And the people that were buying their property finally threw their hands up and said, we quit. We just not gonna do it. I'm sitting here and I'm just telling you, the redness, I feel like it's going up my face. And now, that didn't get to happen, and now you're gonna deny this? I just don't think it's fair or reasonable that you would do this and prevent my family from selling their land. I just think it's an injustice to us, and I just want to have that on the record.
Thank you very much. Again, our sympathies for your sister. I will tell you, I don't think our intention is to prevent you or your family from selling your land. I think
It appears that way.
Well, I think the idea is that the development has to be appropriate for the citizens of the town of Lexington, not just the benefit of a family. This property also is going to have the same expectations as the apartments had. They're going to have access to the light. All of those things will still apply. So whether this project moves forward or not, we are willing to work with you to find the right project. We've got several others in town that were on the market for years trying to find the right location for the right thing. And I think the town will work with you to do that. But we also have a duty to the rest of the citizens.
Well, I would just say, up until this point, I haven't seen any effort on the part of the town to help us sell this.
Well, I will tell you, I had several meetings one-on-one with the developer of the apartments on my time to try and work with him to find a solution to some of the concerns that we had. So it may not be on the record, but we do spend a lot of time, personal time, working with developers to try and make sure that we get the right product. And I did that personally with the gentleman from Rock Hill. So thank you very much. All right, any other questions? All right, if not, do we have a motion?
Motion to deny the rezoning.
All right, we have a motion to deny,
Second.
and we have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. And that is unanimous. Thank you very much.
Can we bring this back up at another time?
Yes, ma'am, you're welcome to bring it back, although I would encourage you not to bring it back as the industrial zoning. I think that message has been made fairly clear. I'm not sure you're going to find this group really amenable to considering an industrial zoning on this property. So if there's another project or another zoning that you can work.
There is no other project.
Okay. Well, we've addressed this one, and John, I don't know that there's a need to take up item 3 with our recommendation on the zoning.
I think for record's sake, you need to
Okay.
bring it up. Obviously, you have to deny it.
Okay. All right. So, well, you want to introduce item? Yes.
It may be helpful to note for the audience that this is a recommendation to council. And
Yes.
Still move forward and be at the next council meeting.
Correct. Our recommendation was to not rezone the property, maintain or to not annex. I guess, is it in a town now, John? It is. It is not. So it would be an annexation with a proposed zoning. And our recommendation was to not annex it as an industrial piece of property. So it will go to council for them to have 2 readings and make a determination. So I guess we do need to, in case they decide to change the zoning, I guess we need to address the site plan that they provided us. Correct?
Correct.
So, all right. You guys have in your packet the site plan for the distribution company. I think Frank has pointed out one significant concern is there's a large chunk of undeveloped property that is proposed as industrial as well, which would be a significant concern. I think the agent speaking for the company indicated that they would consider not zoning that industrial as well. So I think that would be a necessity to address that so that you don't have a large tract of undeveloped land there as industrial, at least from my perspective. Any other questions on the site plan?
I make a motion that we.
Wait, you let John present.
Oh, you want to present
You
it?
want to present?
Well,
I think
I mean, as I say,
we've discussed it
Yeah.
on item 2, but if there's any other questions about it, we can.
Well, I make a motion we deny item
All right.
New business item number 3, the site plan, based on the fact that we unanimously voted to not rezone of the property.
All right. Any further, or do we have a second?
Second.
All right, Jenny seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. And that is unanimous as well. Thank you very much, folks, and I hope at some point we can find the suitable project for this location and a development that is a benefit to the town, and again, we will work with you guys to find that and make it work. Any other items for the good of the commission? Is there a traffic update? No? All right. Britt, anything from?
No, sir.
All right. Ms. Kathy?
Well, good morning and
morning.
Happy New Year. Glad to see you, and again, thank you for everything that y'all do. Have a couple of announcements. On Sunday, January 28th, is the Blowfish Chili Cook-Off at the amphitheater. We went last year. It was very good, so I hope you have the opportunity to take advantage of that. Town Hall will be closed on February the 19th for President's Day. And on February the 5th, Mayor McDougal will be doing his State of the Town. So I hope you can all join us on that evening at 6:30 here in Council Chambers, or watch it on Channel 2. Again, thank you for what you do every day for the town.
All right, thank you. Anything else? John, is that it? All right. Hearing none, do we have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to a second? All right, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you, and we are adjourned. And again, thank you very much for participating and watching the Town of Lexington Planning Commission in action. This meeting was held at 8 a.m. January 24, 2018. A recording will be aired several times throughout the week. On behalf of the Planning Commission, I wish you a good day.